Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Josh here, Bees in the Weeds. It is a nice, beautiful late May afternoon here in Kentucky. I'm going through some hives today. Just got done rehoming a swarm trap that I had on tree for about 3 weeks. So they're in their new home and they appear to be pretty happy with the mated queen in there. So pretty excited about that. I'm gonna go ahead and check on this colony here in a few minutes, and thought I'd bring you guys along for the ride. So here we go. Okay, so this colony is colony number 13, I believe. And they are a swarm that I caught out of my own back of my apiary here. I believe they were on one of those Osage orange trees. Put them in here. They've been in here a little over 3 weeks now. I think 3 weeks and a couple days. So it's about time to go ahead and check and see if we've got a mated queen in here, see if she's laying, and just kind of check on the status of the colony. So we'll go ahead and get started. I went ahead and put a super on this colony just to see if, and a queen excluder, just to see if, you know, I don't know, if they'd start drawing any wax or bring in any nectar. Because the idea when you capture a swarm is to get everything ready so you can leave them alone for 3 to 4 weeks undisturbed. So that's what I tried to do to the best of my ability here. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a look here and see what we got. So nothing going on upstairs, that doesn't surprise me. So I'll probably pull this super off. It'd be better served on a different colony. Or we'll see what they're doing down below. But my main concern with this colony is, are they queen right? That's all I really care about. I wasn't trying to get honey off this colony. I've not had much success with that. I know some people have captured swarms and they still get a honey harvest off that swarm that year. I've not been that lucky. So nice little cluster there. Got about 5 seams of bees here, right in the middle of this cluster. I can already tell they're not out here to the sides, but you know, if all I find in the middle here is a bunch of honey, we'll know that they're queenless. So we'll be able to tell pretty quickly. And if that's the case, well, I know I got a queen right colony that I just installed from that swarm trap, so I may grab a frame of eggs from her or another queen right colony and donate a frame of eggs in there. See what we're working with. Oh. Okay, so this appears that we have laying workers, which can happen. Hey, Dad. So this colony has been queenless for a while, and we now have laying workers. So there's a way to deal with that. Yeah, so we got brood in here, but it's all drone brood. So they've been queenless for a while. Again, these swarms are having a hard time getting their queens returned. So let me see if I can bring it around for the camera. I'll show you what it looks like. You're probably not gonna be able to see the eggs. I don't know if you'll see it on camera or not, but so you see that, that's all drone brood right there, and see how it's very pronounced, how the cappings stick out. And then if you were to look in the cells, there's multiple eggs in the cells. I'm trying to find an example here. I don't know if you can see down in there. Let me flip this over. I'm gonna look off camera here to see. Yeah, so I don't know if you can see down in there, but there's multiple eggs in each cell. Well, that's too bad, but it happens. So, and I've been fooled before, so I'm gonna really take my time here to make sure that it's not a newly mated queen that's just trying to figure stuff out. But I think I've got my answer from seeing the drones here. The only thing I'm not seeing that's giving me pause is eggs on the side, on the walls. And so that's what I want to keep looking for, because that's another telltale sign of a laying worker. Their bottoms aren't as long as a mated queen, obviously. So they can't get that egg to the very bottom of the cell. Sometimes, I mean, they can, but yeah, this has got to be a laying worker colony. But a lot of times the eggs will be attached to the side as well. So of course the sun's not out right now. I'm trying to look down in the cells, but this really looks like a laying worker colony. So I'll bring this around again. I should have moved mine. There we go. See how that's all drone brood. See how fat it is? I don't know if you can tell. I'll look here to see if I see eggs on there. Yeah, there's some eggs on the side of the wall there. I'm trying to see, yeah, multiple eggs in one cell. So let me see if I can show you at the very bottom here. I'm really trying to see that right there. See at the very bottom of the cells there, where there's multiple eggs in each cell. So this is a laying worker colony, and there's ways to fix that. So we just combine it with a queen right colony, and the queen right colony will find and kill the laying workers. I saw one blown queen cell, but obviously she didn't make it back, or this swarm didn't have a queen with it. That can happen also. It's interesting that I'm not hearing like the queenless roar, you know? Usually you can tell when there's no queen, they get pretty loud. Yeah. All drone brood. You know, I was reading in the American Bee Journal, there is a species of honeybee, I forget exactly where it was, that a laying worker can lay a female bee. And that blew my mind. And the article quickly got really scientific and above my head. Got into the, you know, the genomes or something. I mean, it was just, but I always thought, oh, that can never happen if they're all going to be male bees. But nope, that's not the case. But it is something about they won't survive because I don't know. I'd have to reread the article. I think it was either in the April or the May American Bee Journal. You should check it out. It's a pretty fascinating article. But I think here, and yeah, see, there's some. What in the, is that a bunch of drone eggs in an emergency cup? I mean, poor girls are trying everything. But yeah, you should, if you have a subscription, you should check that out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this colony back up, and then I'm gonna move them over to one of the queen-right colonies, and we'll do like the newspaper method with a queen excluder, and we'll put these bees above the queen-right colony, and then those workers will go up. The queen-right colony will go up and kill the laying worker bees. They know exactly which ones they are. That dead bee out of there. And we'll get them taken care of, so. You know, it stinks, but hey, that's beekeeping. This stuff happens, so. All right, so I'm gonna get this colony on a queen-right colony, and I'll show you guys what that's like. Okay, so colony on the left there is a laying worker colony. We've got lots of drone brood in here, lots of eggs and multiple cells, as you've seen. And so I went ahead and opened this hive next to it, which a swarm caught around the exact same time as this one. I thought, well, let's see if this one's queen-right, and it is queen-right. And we have a beautiful new 2023 queen in here, and she looks like a carny to me. I just marked her red. I'm gonna try to show you guys. She's dark. Hopefully y'all can see her on the camera here. I'm trying to get her to turn around. There she goes. Nice dark queen. She looks like a carny to me. Try to get her. I always want to crawl, you know. There we go. You guys get a good look at her here. Beautiful queen. She's in there laying. Nice frame of eggs and frame of brood over here in this colony. So what we're going to end up doing to take care of these laying workers is we are going to combine this colony with this colony. And so I just marked her with the red paint, so I'm going to let that dry a little bit longer. My dad ran to go get me some newspaper. I'm actually going to use the newspaper method. My buddy Don said you could use number 8 hardwire cloth. That's that, it's just metal cloth that the bees cannot penetrate through, and he said you could just put that in between the 2 boxes for 24 hours and then remove it, and that gives these bees enough time to now acclimate to her pheromone down here, and then this colony will go up and kill the laying workers in this colony, or the non-laying workers in this colony, now detecting actual queen pheromone and brood that's down here, will go up there and kill the laying workers as well. And so I'm gonna actually use the newspaper method, which it's just a slow introduction is all it is. But this is a nice frame of brood. I'll show you guys with this queen. Just started laying. Again, that's why you wanna leave them alone for 3 to 4 weeks, but nice pattern, they're drawing that out. So this colony looks to be in great shape. Beautiful carny queen. I'll put this back together here. Not a big colony, small, but their numbers will increase going into the summer here. Let's see what I did with those. And so this will create a double deep, which is fine. After a certain period of time, maybe a week or two, what I can do is, you know, I'm gonna have that queen excluder down here, so all the brood, the drone brood up here will emerge. They may cannibalize some of it, to be honest with you. But I'll come back and then I'll shake all the bees from this box down into this box, and then we'll be back to single deep. And these frames will either have honey in it, or they'll have the brood that was emerged. The queen's not gonna be able to get up in here and lay. I'm not gonna let her. I'm gonna keep that queen excluder on, so she'll be down here. And since this colony's queen-right, this one's gonna go on the bottom. The laying worker colony is gonna go on top of this colony. So I'm just waiting on my dad to bring me some newspaper. I may end up, I don't know. I'll probably just put this super maybe on another colony, because they're going to be drawing wax for this laying queen. They're not really going to be filling that up with any sort of nectar. Especially, we're not really in a flow right now. It's getting a little dearthy out here, to be honest with you. Although there is a lot of clover still out in the field, which is nice. That is a beautiful looking queen. Very dark. The carnies have the dark abdomens. The Italians have that more like golden brown color. And this is a swarm I caught, so I haven't seen many carnies in my apiary. There's my dad. Did you get it? In the back?
Well, scissors in case you want to trim it.
Yeah, thank you.
You want to put that on top of the other one?
Yeah, so all you do is, and I gotta put the queen back in this colony here. She's had enough time for that paint to dry. Did you want to see her, Dad?
Yeah.
So she's really dark on her abdomen, so I think she's a Carniolan variety, as opposed to the Italians, which is a lot of what I have. See her? Just take a couple layers of this newspaper. Yep, I'm gonna put her back down. Put her right back down in here. Okay, there she goes. Perfect. Now I'll just put the queen excluder on here. And all this newspaper does is it forces the bees to take their time to, I guess, get to know each other. So I'll just trim it out a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect. Try to line it up. And now I'll take this colony. Paint likes to stick together. There we go. Oh, of course the wind's blowing. Now just wait for the wind to stop. There we go. Okay. Stick them right on top of there. And you can tear away this excess paper, but we'll come back out here later and remove it after a couple days. There won't be any need for it anymore. All right, close this hive back up. Number back on. And like I said, that now all that brood the correct brood that's down below and the queen down below, that pheromone now is going to proliferate throughout this colony, and those workers down below are going to come up and kill these laying workers. They will not let them survive. And the rest of this, the drones will eventually emerge. Yeah, they're going to be stuck up there because, well, I have that upper entrance. They may be able to get out of that upper entrance, but I'm not too worried about it because I'll come back out here in a couple days and remove that. End up removing that the queen excluder, or the newspaper. Leave the queen excluder in there, and we'll just go from there. So yeah, so I guess on the downside we had a laying worker colony, but on the bright side we ended up getting one more swarm with a mated queen return, which is nice because it's been a big problem this year. So but this colony will end up taking off here with this queen pretty soon, and they'll be good to go. So she's a beautiful queen, that's for sure. So anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the next video. All right, we got a little bonus footage for everyone today. I apologize if I sound pretty congested. I've got a little bit of a cold, so that's been fun dealing with. But to finish up this video, it's been 48 hours since I combined these two for the laying worker hive up above and the queen right hive below with the queen excluder in between. So what I want to do now is go ahead and get in this hive again, and couple things. Number one, I want to check and make sure that the queen is okay. She's that beautiful Carniolan queen, which tends to be the darker queens. At least that's what I think she is. I caught this swarm in Kentucky Acres, and so I've never had a Carniolan queen in my apiary before, to my knowledge. So it's pretty fun. Pretty excited to introduce those genetics here in the Bees in the Weeds apiary. So number one, I want to make sure she's okay. And what I mean by that is, so I was reading, there's a fantastic book out there called The Hive and the Honeybee. It's a giant red book that weighs like 100 pounds. I'm not kidding, it's heavy. Phenomenal book. It was recommended to me by Jake Barker, who is our EAS Master Certified Beekeeper in Oldham County, Kentucky here. And it has like everything. It's like an encyclopedia for beekeeping. I believe it was started by Langstroth, and then the Dadents took it over, but it's over 100 years old, and it's been added to over a long time period. I believe Dadent sells it. That's where I bought it from, if I can remember correctly. It's like 60 bucks or so, free shipping. So I mean, it's not a cheap book by any stretch of the imagination, but it's one of those books that can be like a hand-me-down type thing where I continually go back and read it as a resource if I have a question on laying workers, so I went back and read up on that. Now, that book said it's really difficult to get rid of laying workers. I've not had that experience. I've had laying workers a couple of times, and I've always used this method in the past with the queen excluder in between, queen right hive on the bottom, queen-less hive on the top. And it appears that the brood and the queen pheromone that's in the queen right colony will proliferate throughout this hive and will begin to shut down the production of the laying workers' ovaries, or the queen right workers will go up and kill the laying workers up here. Because as soon as they start to sense that brood and that queen pheromone, that this hive is queen right, it allegedly sets everything back to how it should be. And so that's what I'm curious to find out here. I've read a lot of places where 24 hours is enough time period. It's been 48 hours since I combined these hives. I have a friend that uses the number 8 hardware cloth to do a 24-hour slow introduction to where the bees literally can't get to each other, but they can communicate through the screen. Technically, they could sting at each other, but I don't think that would be very common. I've not used that method. I just happen to have a queen excluder handy and some newspapers, so I went ahead and did this method. It's 6 half dozen. There's all sorts of different methods. I've heard where people put the queen right colony on top and the queen wrong colony on the bottom, and they've had success with that too. I don't know. My plan today is a couple of things. Number one, I'm going to pull this laying worker deep off, set it aside. because I've had a queen excluder on here. I know the queen's in the bottom. I want to try to quickly find her if I can, just to make sure that she's okay. Just check, make sure she's still laying, maybe try to find some eggs. And then because I only use, I only run single brood management in my apiary, what a person would do is they would just pull the queen excluder out, put the colony back together just like it is, and walk away, and you would be done. You could peel the newspaper off and throw it away, but basically you would be done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the bees that are on these frames and I'm going to shake them off into the lower deep, and I'm going to turn this hive back into a single deep that is queen right. And so again, the bees should be familiar with each other now after 48 hours, and God willing, they haven't killed the queen in here, or the laying workers haven't come down and killed the queen, which would be the worst case scenario. So that's what I'm going to do today. Figured I'd take you guys along for the ride. All right. Okay. I hate it when these things stick to. Sometimes my inner covers stick together. It's really annoying. So, and you might remember this. This colony had a lot of drone brood in it, obviously, right? Laying worker. So all I'm gonna do is pull them off here, and if there are drones up here that are hatched, they're probably really happy. Yeah, see, I only see that one little corner where the bees chewed through it in 48 hours. So hopefully that was a pretty slow introduction. Go ahead and get this newspaper off of here. And I'm just gonna real quickly check down here. This doesn't have a ton of bees in the bottom, so should be able to find her pretty quickly, in theory. I doubt she's on this frame. Although they are starting to draw some wax out here. So no, I don't see her there. Oh boy. Let's see what we're looking at here. This is not a good sign. I'm actually finding multiple eggs in cells, and now I'm worried that the book may have been right. I may have gotten my beautiful queen killed. I'm looking for her. I keep looking. And see, this frame has brood on it. And maybe, I mean, it could be a situation where they're still dispatching those laying workers. just not finding my queen yet. Now what the book said to do was to shake all the bees out and just start over. Basically get rid of them. But I've had success with dispatching laying worker. Oh, there she is. So I still got my queen in here, thank God. I'll show you guys. She's an absolute beauty. Now she's trying to disappear on me. Let's see if she comes to the other side here. So again, they may still be in the process of dispatching those laying workers. And I think the bees would start to cannibalize the, where did she go? The eggs. She went right in between the frame here, trying to see if she'll make an appearance again. They don't like the sunlight. There she is. Man, she is a beauty. I gotta show you on the camera here. There she is right there. See, she looks like a carny to me. But look in those cells, there's more than one egg in some of those cells. And she's looking in them right now, that's what she's doing. But I don't see any significant signs of aggression here towards her. So I'm gonna pose this one to the experts out there. What do you all think? So there are cells in this lower deep that now have multiple eggs in them. A laying worker has come down and started to deposit eggs where this queen has already started laying. And as you can see on this frame here, it is covered in normal brood. Worker brood. So I would think that her pheromone combined with the brood pheromone should start to suppress those laying workers' ovaries. Or again, the bees should kill them because they are now queen right. And it certainly appears that everything's being accepted as far as this queen is. You know, they're not trying to ball her or anything like that I can tell. So I'm gonna close this colony back up and hope that it just corrects itself, and you know, maybe just 48 hours hasn't been enough time to correct the issue. But I'm not seeing any signs of aggression to this queen. She looks to be in great shape from what I can tell. And I do see the deeper cells here only have one egg in them. So maybe those laying workers, I'm gonna go ahead and get her back in the colony. Maybe those laying workers just decided to deposit eggs in the ones that, you know, they could reach. But usually, at least last time I had laying workers, man, 48 hours later, I looked in there, and they were, I didn't see any eggs in multiple cells. So I'm not sure. I'm gonna get rid of that bee there. All right, so let's go ahead, and what I'm going to do is I've got a lot of frames here that they haven't touched yet. So I could just squish the bee there. Oops, sorry. And I'm going to put some of the frames here that are drawn out from the laying worker hive, the drawn out comb in here. Which again, they should all be assimilated by this point, and they're all intermingled anyway. So again, I'm just going to put some of these, you know, so they don't have to spend as many resources when they dispatch those laying workers and they start to backfill them with the queens, with the correct eggs. So plenty of frames that they haven't touched yet, which is fine. So how many do we have here? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take out one more frame here. Shake these bees off. All right. Frame here will set. Now they started drawing on that one, but okay, this is a really good example of the laying worker cell. So I know I tried to show you a little bit earlier in this video, but check this out. You should be able to see this. Ooh, the sun is the sun's kind of blinding me, but if you look here, look in those cells right there. Do you see how many eggs are in those cells? See how many are in there? I mean, that's a ton. What is that, like 10 eggs in one cell? And you just see this all throughout this comb. So that's what that looks like. So if you see that in one of your hives, you know you got laying workers. So I'm not gonna give them this frame. I'm gonna go with these others instead. And there's what your drone brood looks like as a result of laying workers. See how spotty that pattern is? Let me bring this around for you. See how spotty that pattern is? And you know it's drone brood because of how raised it is. And these drones, when they hatch, will tend to be much smaller in size. Well, not much, but smaller in size than your traditional drones because they are confined to worker bee cells. And they're not supposed to. They're supposed to be in the larger drone cells. So this actually has some honey up here in it. So it'd be a good, right there, it's all full of honey. They're starting to cap it right there. So this would be a good frame to put back in the colony. Yeah, same thing. There's honey on this one. I'm going to stick this one towards the outside. There's honey, pollen, bee bread. I see, yep, there's bee bread. Honey. I'm going to stick this one on this side. Okay, need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2 more frames. And we got 2 more seams of bees here, so. Yeah, that is just so ugly looking. I mean, when you have a laying worker colony, by God, you know it. It is ugly. All right, last frame. Kind of worked out well. So now they're going to have mostly, this is all honey too, so this is a great frame for the outside. So at least I got food in here because I think we're getting ready to enter a dearth here in central Kentucky. We've got 90-degree temperatures coming and it's not supposed to rain, so which is a recipe for dearthy conditions. All right, now the rest of the bees that are on these frames, shake. Take these frames back into the shop. And so now this, you know, the good thing about this is that Queen Wright colony was very small. So now they're gonna have some bees to help with foraging and other stuff. But they got to kill those laying workers. And I believe that they will. So I was pretty worried when I first looked in here and saw multiple eggs in the lower deep, because that means the laying workers went down and started laying, and I thought, crap, you know, maybe they balled the queen. Thankfully, they did not. So we're good there. I'm just gonna center these frames. Because I would have been really sad, because that's a beautiful queen in here. And she's the only carny that I have in my apiary to my knowledge. So pretty excited that she's in there. And that's it. I mean, this colony, I'm just gonna seal them up. Not gonna put any supers on them or nothing, because all I want them to focus on right now is getting rid of those laying workers and trying to getting prepared for the summer and the winter. Right. 14. And then when I come back this fall to check on them and start treating for mites with Apiguard, I will double check and make sure that this hive has corrected itself. I really think they will. I think that queen in there has been accepted. I'm not seeing any signs of aggression whatsoever. There is brood in there. She's still laying. She's going to continue to lay. There's going to be open brood, closed brood. Those new bees are going to emerge that are going to be hers. And I'm pretty sure those laying workers will either be dispatched, or that pheromone has already started to shut down their ovaries. So I'm curious though, those of you that are beekeepers that watch the channel, what's your experience been with laying workers? What methods have you used to try to dispatch laying workers? Have you tried this queen excluder newspaper method? Have you had success with that? Have you tried the hardware cloth method, where they literally can't combine until that pheromone has kind of taken over, which may be the better option? I don't know. Or what other options have, I mean, I've heard some beekeepers just slap the two together and put them in God's hands, and they've had success that way. Not doing a slow introduction, because that's the whole reason we do this queen excluder or the hardware cloth. The whole reason we do it is for a slow introduction between the two colonies. Some beekeepers say, you know, forget that mess. I'm just slapping them together and walking away. Good luck, you know, and they've had success with that. So I'm curious, those of you that keep bees, that watch the channel, let me know what your experience is in terms of laying worker hives and success that you have had in getting a colony corrected and back on track. Because you know, I always love to hear and learn what other beekeepers are doing. So yeah, that's that. Gonna keep an eye on this colony. I'll come back and check them, maybe, I don't know, maybe a month from now. It could be a while. Whenever I get ready to treat for mites, and I'll treat this colony. At that point in time, I'm gonna come back in here, I'm gonna look for the queen again, make sure everything is okay, and then we're just gonna consider this colony as good for winter. We'll get them ready for winter, and then hopefully next spring, this queen's gonna be, you know, rearing to go. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed the bonus footage, and I'll see you all in the next video.